Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to continue our discussion on the assumptions behind multiple linear regression. We already started discussing this last time, and we said that it's a statistical technique where you're trying to establish, where you would want to establish the relationship between a variable of interest, your dependent variable, and your independent variables. When you only have one independent variable, then that becomes a simple linear regression. And in economics or in finance, that might be a very, let's say, uh, inappropriate or a model that might not stand the test of, how should I say it? Anyway, it might be an inappropriate model because many phenomenon or many variables that we look at in finance and economics are variables that can be explained by many independent variables. So usually a simple linear regression would not suffice for for modeling in finance and in economics. That's why we we use multiple linear regression. The dependent variable is also called response variable, while the independent variables are your predictors. So as I said, the goal of multiple linear regression is to describe your variable of interest, your dependent variable, and also to predict, okay, for description and for prediction. So I gave you here some LaTeX, okay, and we learned last time how to generate a LaTeX formula. So we see here, notice that the equation is y sub I is equal to beta null plus beta 1 x sub 1 I plus beta 2, etc. Okay. Plus, of course, you can put here, where is that? Yeah, here, center dots. There you go. And notice here, this one is not aligned, just commenting on the LaTeX so that you gain more familiarity and more expertise. It's not aligned with this one class because I introduced this one. Take a look at this one. Q quad or quad. Q quad is double quad indents indents your line. Okay, so that's why without this, if I remove this, for example, Control X, then you notice that it's aligned with the others because the alignment comes from this one, the ampersand. Let me okay, reinstall that. All right. So the equation class is that your y sub I is your dependent variable. Your x's are your independent variable. They are your predictors. Beta null is your intercept. Okay, we call it your intercept, and it's the value of your y sub I, the value of your dependent variable, if all your predictors, okay, are all zero. If x1 is zero, then this cancels out no matter what the beta 1. If x sub 2 is zero, then this will also cancel out. If all your predictors are all zero, then this will cancel out. Then beta null remains, and this is called your intercept, and it's the value of your dependent variable when all your predictors are equal to zero. Okay, epsilon sub I is the residual or the error term. Okay, because as we said last time, okay, let me annotate this. This one class, this one is your predicted value. This is what you get from your regression line. This is your predicted value, and your actual value and your predicted value, which is denoted by y hat. Okay. In many cases, they will not be equal. Okay. Sometimes they will be equal if we're able to perfectly predict the y sub I. In that case, your epsilon will be zero. But in many cases, there will be a difference between your actual value and your predicted value. And to make them equal, we have to insert this or include this. This is the residual. Okay. So let me pause for a while. Is that clear so far, class? That explanation? Kindly confirm, class, please, if you understood. Thank you. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions. Okay. Okay, good. Now, here we have the nature of your residuals. The residuals should behave in such a way that they're normally distributed. Okay. If you plot the residuals, it should behave this way. Okay. Where the mean is zero. Okay. And the variance is constant. Standard deviation and the variance is constant. This is the nature of your residuals. Okay. This is an assumption, class. This is an assumption. If this is violated, then you have to do something with the model. Okay. Because if this is not if this is, as I said, if this is violated, then that means your classical linear regression model falls, okay? Or you might make more assumptions about your model. Okay, so let me just delete the drawings first. Okay, so now this is just another way to write it, class. You notice that uh, I did not use here the ampersand, but I used here begin array on the left and then end array. It's just meant, class, to show you that there are other ways in order to write this one. Okay, for me this is the easiest. Okay, but you can also do it this way. But the contents are exactly the same. Okay, all right. Now this one, okay, so this is the equation. Now we said that there are many uses of multiple linear regression in financial modeling. You can make use of this in stock prediction or stock price prediction or stock returns prediction. Okay, you can make use of as independent variables, GDP growth, interest rates, many other macroeconomic variables in order to predict your stock returns. So multiple linear regression has a very important role as far as financial modeling is concerned. You can also estimate credit risk. Okay, if you have the borrower characteristics, like let's say you have their that income. So let's suppose the borrower is a company, so you can have their debt to income ratio, or it can be an individual where you have the employment status. Then you can estimate the credit risk. Banks make use of this, class, when evaluating whether a certain individual or a certain entity is going to borrow or to make a loan. They would compute for the credit risk. Okay. So I think I mentioned this before also, that it can be used for not only for finance but also for marketing. So you have different advertising channels, whether it's social media or newsprint or radio or television. There are many channels by which a company can post their advertisements. Then the company can create a multiple linear regression model by which they are able to determine the budget that they can allocate for the different channels. Okay, and it can also be used for general businesses for example, predicting the price of a certain asset or real estate. Okay, by looking at the location, the size of the asset, the amenities, and its proximity to certain areas. Okay, so multiple linear regression, class, aside from being denoted by this, can be denoted as like this. So you have a data set class, y sub I. Y sub I is actually, let's say you have, for example, just by way of example, you have 10 values of your y. Let's say you would want to predict stock returns. Okay, or better still, let's say you're trying to predict the price of a house, the price of a building. And then you have here, for example, the area of the building. Area, then you have maybe location, okay, then maybe accessibility, if it's accessible via transportation, whether public or private, etc. So these are certain factors, independent variables that you, etc., that you perceive to be able to define or predict the the price of the house. So let's say you have 10 assets, 10 houses, and then you have, of course, 10 correspondingly, you have 10 areas, 10 locations, and then 10 accessibilities. Okay. So this class, okay, is your data set. And what we're trying to predict is your y. So this is the equation, right? The x1 is the area here. Okay, and the parameter that will be generated for x1 is your beta 1. So this is actually the slope, the slope, the effect of area on the price. And beta 2 is your location, beta 3 is your access. Let's just leave it as is at 3 independent variables. Now this can be written as, this one can be written as your y, and y as a vector. It represents this whole. And then this is equal to, then you have this one, these are your x's, okay? X's. And each of the x's have their betas, okay? Plus your residual. So this whole equation can be represented by a matrix equation. So if you take a look at this one below, class, here. Okay, so this is here, class. Take a look at this. So y, notice that I wrote y as math bold font y is equal to math bold font x, and then the symbol slash bold symbol beta. Notice how it's not the slash beta, just it's not the ordinary slash beta, di ba? Yung slash beta natin kanina, di ba ganito lang yun. Since these are matrices, yun, bold symbol slash beta, plus same thing, bold symbol epsilon. And here you have the definition. Y is the vector of responses. Okay. X, sorry, ba't dalawa to? Ba't na dalawa yung ano ko? X, what happened here? Bakit doble? Strange. Oh, wait. Ba't may text X dito? Ayun. May nadagdag na text na X dito, no? Kindly remove that, no? X is the matrix of predictions. Okay. Sorry. X is the matrix of predictors. And beta here is the vector of coefficients, and epsilon is the vector of residual errors. So it's important that we learn this because in solving our multiple linear regression, I'm going to illustrate to you how this is done. Actually, this is the basis for computing your betas. Remember that what we're interested in is to solve the parameters. Okay, so linear regression, not linear algebra comes into is very important. Okay, so what's this? I think it's the same. Okay, then how do you, given this class, how do we solve for our estimated parameters, our beta 1, beta 2, beta 3? Okay, I mentioned this last time to you that beta, okay, is derived by this formula, x transpose times x, matrix multiplication, and then get the inverse of that. X transpose x, inverse, okay, and then x transpose y. This is the very popular matrix or linear algebra equation for solving for beta, for the parameters. R uses this class. R uses this. So linear algebra plays a major role in determining the variables, the values of your parameters, which are your betas. Okay, we'll learn this more about this when we have our examples. I'm going to illustrate this. All right, then assumption, linearity class. These are now the assumptions of classical linear regression. Linearity, which we mentioned a while before, that your predictors and your response variables should be linear. Their relationship should be linear. What do you mean by that? If you're if you plot, for example, so this is your y, this is your response variable, and this is your x, this is your independent variable. If they behave this way, okay, if you create a scatter plot for y and x, you'll notice that the relationship is not linear at all. Or suppose it can look like this. So this relationship is not linear, it's quadratic. Okay, or you can think of many other types of relationship. So this relationship between your y dependent variable and your x independent variable are not at all linear. Okay, so you can use x as a parameter, as a predictor, but most likely you will not get a very good parameter for that, for x. Okay, what's important, what this denotes is that your x and your y, this is your y, this is your x, they should behave in such a way that they have a linear relationship. If you take a look at this is the scatter plot, then okay, it looks like linear, the relationship between them. So that's what we mean by linearity. The relationship between your predictors and your response variable is linear. Okay, let me pause for a while and ask for your feedback class. So far, am I going too fast? Class, kindly chat, please. Am I going too fast or is my pace just right? Are you able to follow, class? I would appreciate feedback from you. Thank you from the others. How about the others, class, please? Okay, thank you. Okay, good. You know the drill, class. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, there's another class meaning of linearity. Okay. The other wait. Okay, dito yan, no? So, linearity class, it can be written this way. Y sub I is equal to your intercept plus, it's the summation of your betas multiplied by the different x's. Okay, that's what we mean by linearity. It can be expressed in this form, which is exactly this one. It's just the same. Now, uh, I'd like to point out that, okay, there's such a thing also as linearity of the parameters. It's a related assumption to linearity, the linear relationship between your dependent variable and your independent variable. The assumption is that when we talk about linearity as far as the relationship between your y and your x, there's also such a thing as linearity in the parameters. Okay, what do we mean by that? If you take a look at this class here, you notice here the equation is y sub I is equal to beta null plus beta 1 squared and then x 1 sub I. Okay, what does that mean? It means that your parameters class should not be squared. Okay, so yung equation class is that the parameters, yung mga betas natin, should only be beta. Beta 1, beta 2. It cannot be beta squared. Okay, it cannot be square root of beta. It cannot be 1 over beta. Okay, hindi pa pwedeng ganito class, no? Because these are not linear. So this one will not do. Okay? Hindi masosolve yung class. Or medyo mahirap isolve yung ganyan. So this one is okay, this one is okay. So that's what we mean linearity in parameters. Okay? Now, as far as this is concerned, actually walang problema class kung beta 1 times 1 over x. Okay? Pwede yon. Or beta 1 times x squared. That's allowed. Beta 1 times log of x. Pwede. So the variables can be, they can be squared. You can get the log of that. You can get the reciprocal of that. That's okay. But not with the parameters, not with the betas. You cannot create a model like this. Kailangan yung mga betas natin linear, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, etc. Okay, once again, let me pause for a while. Clear ba yung class? Clear ba yung concept na yun? Please uh, don't take it against me if I continue to ask questions about whether you're able to get it. Kasi class, I cannot assume eh. Baka may mga questions na kayo. So I'll pause once in a while to ask you if you're able to get it. Okay, once again, class, may I have your confirmation if you... Okay, thank you. Okay, waiting for the others to confirm. Sir, saan po yung linear parameter? Yung linear parameter, yung beta, okay? Yan yung pinipredict natin, ito. Ginagamit siya in order to determine ano yung effect ng independent variable on your dependent variable. So for example, mamaya magkakaroon tayo ng output, no? Kunyari, balikan natin example natin kanina, let's say yung area at saka yung price. Diba? Yung price ng bahay, no? Okay. Let's suppose that area class, ang beta niya, ang estimate niya is 0.5. Ito class yun is sinusolve, ito. Beta. I hope you remember yung dati yung regression class, yung mga previous stat class nyo. So ito yung beta, let's say beta, ito yung x1 natin, x1. Ang beta 1 mo is 0.5. Ano ibig sabihin ng 0.5 class? Okay. Sabihin natin ano to, square meters. Example lang area square meters ng ano ng house. Saan ginagamit itong beta? To interpret anong effect nito sa price. Okay? So, ibabalik natin class, we're going to revert back lahat ng mga betas natin, ililink natin sa price yan, sa dependent variable natin. Ano ibig sabihin ng 0.5? It means that for every 1 square meter increase in your area, there's a corresponding 0.5 increase in your price. So, ganun yon, no? Ganun yon. Makikita natin ang class pag nag-regression na tayo. But I know from your previous statistics class, yung DSI nyo o yung kahit yung mga dating stat nyo, sa regression, di ba? Tinitingnan natin class yung mga parameters natin, yun yung marginal effect. Yun yung effect ng independent variable natin on your dependent variable. Okay? Alright, so does that answer your question? Clear na ba yon? Okay, so babalikan natin yan kasi wala pa naman yung model natin eh. So, panay ganyan nga yung titingnan natin eh. And and in this subject you should be able to you should be able to interpret yung mga models natin. Next, independence. Ano naman yung independence? That means class that di ba yung model natin y is equal to beta 1 beta null plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus epsilon, di ba? Yung epsilon class, your epsilon is your epsilon are your residuals. So, importante class na yung residuals, they should not be correlated. Okay, covariance and correlation are really they're actually the same thing, no? So we write it this way: the covariance of your error of observation I and error of your observation J should be equal to 0. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila dapat correlated, no? For all i's not equal to J. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Kasi pag I is equal to J class, then you're just looking at the correlation of the observation with itself. Epsilon sub I, magkapareho lang yun. Balikan natin class yung price. This is the price. Okay. This is your area. Okay. Your others. And then this is your epsilon, no? Yung residual natin. Ito yung observation number 1. Observation number 2. Observation number 3. Okay. So what we're saying here, dapat class, is that yung residuals, the observation number 1, okay, dapat hindi siya related sa residuals ng observation number 2. So that's what we mean by independence of the error terms. Residual number 1, residual number 2, they should not be correlated, or their covariance should be equal to 0. Okay? So very important to. That's why itong mga assumption to nito class, when we generate our model already, we will have to check whether these are violated. Now, let me explain this now, no? Okay. So, generally class, there are three types of data, no? Anong types of data natin? Your data can be, number 1, cross-sectional data, no? Cross-sectional data. Okay, we can take a look at this in terms of units or individuals, units and time or period. Okay, ang cross-sectional data class, okay, maraming units yan. Okay, many units, point in time, 1. Okay, let me cite an example, class. You have data. ASEAN data, kunyari, Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, etc., etc., etc. So you have many units, no? Tapos ano yung data natin? Let's say, GDP, GNP, employment, inflation, etc. So we have several data class, no? Ilang countries? Marami. Kunyari, Asia na lang. So let's say country dito, country, GNP, GDP, inflation, mortality rate, death rate, mortality rate, okay, and others. Okay, so country 1, country 2, country 3, let's say several hundred countries. So my GNP, GDP, inflation, etc. So this class is called a cross-sectional data. Why? Ano yung units dito? Ang units of observation dito is the country. No? So, isang country lang ba o many? Many class. Time period class. This is a snapshot. Kunyari, 2024 figures to. Okay, 2024 figures. So, ilang periods of time to? Isa lang. Kasi you're just looking at it in 2024. Okay? So, this is a cross-sectional data. The second type is a time series data class. Time series data. Time series. Ang time series data class, units, 1. Time period, many. Baliktad siya. Example class. Philippines. Philippines lang, no? Units ang tinitingnan natin, we're just looking at Philippines. Tapos, 1970, 71, 72, 73, from 1970 hanggang 2024. So what's the time frame? Many. Kasi from 1970 hanggang 2024. Okay? Anong unit ang tinitingnan? Country. Ilang countries? Isa lang. Okay? So what type of data is that? Time series data. Okay. All right. And then third example is the panel data. Panel data. Ano naman yung panel data class? It's a combination of cross-sectional and time series data. Okay, so pag panel data class, units, many. Time frame, many. Example class. Okay, let's take a look at the 5 countries, no? ASEAN 5 kunyari. Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam. Huwag na natin isama si Singapore. From 1970, kasama sila. Hanggang 2024, kasama sila. No? So those 5 countries were included in the data. Kasama yung GDP, GNP, inflation, 1970, andun na sila. Consistent hanggang 2024, andun na sila. What type of data is that? Panel data class. Why? What's the unit being studied? Country, no? Ilang countries? 5. Noong 1970, ilan? 5. 71, 5. 2024, 5 class. Time frame, many. 70, 71, 72 hanggang 2024. So that's a panel data. Okay. Now, ang panel data, dalawang klase din yan. You have balanced and unbalanced. What is balanced panel data? Yung sinabi ko kanina, all countries are present from the beginning up to the end. 1970, 5 sila. Hanggang 2024, 5 sila. Balanced panel data yun. How about unbalanced panel data? Unbalanced panel data, may mga nadadagdag, pwedeng may natatanggal, pwedeng may natanggal, tapos for some time, tapos madadagdag ulit. That's called unbalanced panel data. So pwede noon ng 1970, 5 lang, 1976, 5 pa rin, 1978, naging 6 na, etc. That's what you call unbalanced panel data. Pero panel data pa rin siya. Okay? So these are the 3 types. Once again, cross-sectional data, time series data, panel data. So what is this subject all about? This subject is all about, in applied regression class, ito yung focus natin. In time series analysis, ito yung focus natin. And then, we'll have also to study panel data. So these 3 types of data have different treatments as far as modeling them is concerned. So initially, mag-cross-sectional data muna tayo, ha? And then we go to time series data kasi iba yung pag-model niyan. And then we go also to panel data. In fact, mauuna yung panel data regression natin. And then the last will be your time series data. Okay, so I hope before we end this session today, alam nyo na class ha, pag sinabing if you're given the data, ask first, ano yung units yung tinitinan dito? What individual, what unit is being considered? Country siya. Maraming countries, no? So maraming countries. So, hindi na pwedeng time series yun. Kasi ang time series, isang country lang yan. So either cross-sectional siya or panel data. Tingnan nyo ngayon yung time frame. Isang time frame lang. So 2023 lang. Cross-sectional data yan. Maraming time frames, okay? From 2000 to 2024. Panel data yan. Alright, once again, class, you know the drill. As ulit ako, so far, are the three types of data clear, cross-sectional, time series, and panel data? Good. Thank you, Jerry Lane. How about the others, please? Okay, good, good. Yeah, good. So you should be able, class, to know, given the data, makikita niyo yan. Okay? So, alam niyo na, class, kasi in this subject, we're going to learn how to deal with each. So, pag nakakita kayo ng panel data, class, huwag niyo gagawing pang, ano siya, pang cross-sectional. Sayang, this is the most robust class yung panel data. Ito yung pinakamagandang data class. Mostly sa mga thesis, panel data. Madalang yung nag-cross-sectional data or time series data. Karamihan class panel data kasi combination to ng cross-sectional at saka time series. Okay, that's very good class. Very good. All right, sige. Let's continue our discussion. Okay, so we were here, class. Now, itong independence class, this is an important assumption class in linear regression model. Itong independence, this is more a problem with time series. Okay? And this is not a problem so much with cross-sectional data. You know why? Kasi class, di ba, ang tinitinan nito yung residual na number 1 compared to residual na number 2. Now, ang cross-sectional data class, pwedeng i-jumble yan eh. Pwedeng i-rearrange mo yan. Kasi baka pwedeng arrangement niya alphabetical. Will it matter if you make it random? Hindi. Hindi, class. Kasi hindi naman siya time series. Okay? Walang logical order. So kahit unahin mo yung Philippines, o kaya ihuli mo siya, o igitna mo siya, put it in the middle class, it doesn't matter, class. So itong independence, yung autocorrelation among residuals, it's not relevant, class, for a cross-sectional data. This is relevant for a time series data. Why? And for a panel data, why, class? Because in time series data, there is a logical arrangement of the data. Okay, kunyari, January 1, January 2, January 3, January 4. So talagang dapat magkakasunod yung ano. They follow a logical sequence. And so, the order of the data is of prime importance. May logical importance yun. Kaya pwede natin makita kung related ba yung residual ng January 1 kay January 2, kay January 3, etc. Okay? Dun papasok class yung independence ito when we go to time series. For cross-sectional data, this is not of importance. Why again? Because cross-sectional data can be rearranged. Okay? You can arrange it alphabetically or you can arrange it from randomly. No? Jumble lang siya. No? Pag na-jumble na siya, class, magkaiba na yung order ng data natin. Magkaiba na yung epsilon sub I at saka epsilon sub j. Iba na yung kasunod ng isang unit, for example. So this doesn't make sense. Okay? All right. Independence only for time series data, not for cross-sectional data. Pero ito, class, homoscedasticity. Okay? The assumption is that the residuals are homoscedastically distributed. Ano ibig sabihin, class, ng homoscedasticity? Constant variance. Okay, let me illustrate that. And how do we write that, class? The variation of your residuals is equal to sigma squared. This is variance, class. It means constant. Yan. Ibig sabihin yan, constant, sigma squared. No? Sigma squared is a value. Ibig sabihin, constant yan. For all i's. Ito for all, class. Ibig sabihin ito. No? For all i's. Ito. No? Yan. For all. For all i's. Okay, so what does that mean, class? Di ba pag nag-model tayo, class? Okay, once again, balikan natin yung yung model natin. Okay, di ba ito yung y natin. Ito yung variable 1 natin, variable 2, variable 3, and then we create a model, di ba? And then we have our predicted value. And based on x1, x2, x3, we can now predict y sub I. Okay? And then the difference between your actual value and your predicted value is equal to your residual. Okay? Yan. If we plot the residuals class, for example, ito, if this is your actual value and this is your residual, pag prinat natin class yung residual, dapat class, it should behave this way. Okay, take a look at this class. Ito behavior na ano natin ng residuals. So how does your residual behave? Random class, random lang. Okay? Walang pattern. That's what we mean by the variance is constant dito. Yung range of values niya is from here to this one. Constant, hindi siya umaakyat o hindi siya bumababa. It doesn't behave this way kasi pag ganito class yung residuals natin, suppose our residuals behave this way. Hindi na homoscedastic yan. Bakit? Hindi na constant yung variance. Oh. You know, if let's say at this point, hanggang dito na yung ano natin, residuals eh. Diba? So ito na yung variation niya. Yan na. Oh. At this point, dito sa range siya to, dito na siya. Dito, okay lang dito. Yan ang range. Ito yung variation ng residuals natin. Pagdating dito class, ala na. Hindi na constant yung variance natin. Dapat ang variance natin constant lang. It should not change across all values of your residuals, no? Okay? So if your residuals has a pattern, kunyari, pag pinat mo, nakaganto siya. Teka muna, may pattern yan, di ba? May pattern yung residuals. Ibig sabihin natin nito class, may movement sa data natin na hindi nakaka-capture ng model natin. Or if your residuals behave this way, kunyari may ganyan, no? It's increasing over values of your y, no? Nag-i-increase siya. Hindi ano yan, hindi homoscedastic. Heteroscedastic yan. Okay? Heteroscedasticity means spread out. Homoscedastic means uniform yung spread out niya ito. Heteroscedastic, others spread out, no? Hetero, hindi uniform. At this point, at this level, ito lang yung variance niya. At this point, ito na. At this point, ito na. Pag may trend yan, di ba? Nababago na yung variance natin. Okay, so that's what we mean by homoscedastic. So this is very important class. Yung sa unang case nyo, pag nakapag-generate na kayo ng model, you have to check this. Kasi class, pag heteroscedastic yung residuals nyo, we have a problem. Ibig sabihin, hindi reliable yung model natin. What are we using the model for? Prediction. Paano natin magagamit yung model kung heteroscedastic yung residuals? It means that unreliable yung model natin. Okay, once again, class, pa-chat naman please. Class, I hope that's clear. Yung concept class ng homoscedasticity versus heteroscedasticity. Homoscedastic, constant variance. Heteroscedastic, non-constant variance. Thank you, Lane. How about the others, please? Okay, thank you, John. Okay, yeah, Gab, thank you. Good. Darren. Keep them coming, please. Sana may, yan. Adrian, thank you. Wala na, lilima lang, anim. Baka pwede pang mag-comment yung iba class. If you're able to follow. Unless you have a question. Okay, good. Thank you so much, class. Appreciate that. uh, as you know, class, very important sa akin yung feedback. I just want to make sure that you're understanding it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Okay. So ito class, no? How do you write that? Variance ng residuals natin. Okay, variance ng residual is equal to constant, sigma squared. Okay, for all i's. Okay, siguro pwede natin lagay ito. Hindi, okay na. Sinabi na naman natin for all I. Okay, next class, multicollinearity. Ito, importante din to class. What does that mean? Okay, when we talk of multicollinearity, okay, we're talking about the relationship between your variables. We want class, okay, we want that your dependent variable, okay, sorry. We want the dependent variable, okay. So your y, and your x, we want them to be highly correlated. Gusto natin yung ganyang scatter plot class kasi mataas yung correlation nila. We don't want this, no? Y at saka si X. We don't want this. Kasi pag ganito class, no correlation yan eh, di ba? No correlation. Ibig sabihin, you can't use Y, X in order to predict Y. Okay? You cannot use X in order to predict Y. Kasi walang linear relationship sila eh. Okay, so that's between your dependent variable and your independent variable. Now, we also don't want, okay, we don't want that, ito, I'll replace this by x1 and x2. We don't want your independent variables to be highly correlated. Ito, class. That's what we mean by no multicollinearity. Okay, y with x, highly correlated, check. X with x, highly correlated, x, class. No can do, class. No can do. You know why, class? Why is that so? Bakit ayaw natin na yung x's natin highly correlated? Kasi class, number one, okay, parsimony. Kung pareho lang naman sila, pareho silang behavior na in explaining why, then why do you have to use both? Di isa na lang, di ba? Kung pareho lang naman silang behavior in explaining why, then we can just use one of the variables. Second class, magko-compete tong dalawan to. Okay. Magko-compete sila. They will now compete in trying to explain why. Kasi ang linear regression class, multiple linear regression, we're trying to explain the variance of your dependent variable. Okay? Gusto natin ma-explain yung variance ng dependent variable natin. Now, if your independent variables are highly correlated, then we will not know now, it will be difficult to disentangle. Kunyari, equation natin, y is equal to beta null plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3. And if x1 and x2 are highly correlated, okay, it will be very difficult to disentangle the variation that's being explained by x1 and the variation that's being explained by x2 on y1, on y. Anong percentage ng variation ni y ang ini-explain ni x1? Anong percentage ng variation ni y ang ina-explain ni x2? Kasi that's the goal eh. The goal is for your independent variables to try to explain your dependent variable. Pag highly correlated sila, magkakaproblema tayo. Okay, so no multicollinearity means gusto natin to, x1, x2. Gusto natin to. Okay, di ba no correlation sila? We want this type of predictors na hindi correlated si x1 at saka si x2. And not this one. Not the one where when you plot the scatter plot niya, okay, may linear relationship sila. No, yes. Okay, that's what we mean by multicollinearity class. Okay? So, makapag-example tayo kahit sa simula, makapagsimula tayo. All right. So, let's finish this. Okay. Multicollinearity class. No multicollinearity. So how do we measure multicollinearity? Later on, we will compute what we call variance inflation factor. Ito yung magdidetermine if two variables are correlated. So this is your variance inflation factor. Okay. We're going to measure VIF using this one, R squared, coefficient of determination. So we'll go through the process class. Madali lang naman, isang line of code lang yan. Tapos we'll try to see if two variables are correlated. And then we have to make a decision kung ano dun yung, do we include both? Okay? Or do we remove one? That's one thing we will have to discuss. Okay, this one, and I discussed this already a while ago. Iba yung residuals dapat natin normally distributed, okay, with mean zero and constant variance. We will learn about the QQ plot class, okay, later on na natin to. Yung QQ plot, your residuals should be behaving this way. Ayan. Pag yung residuals natin gumaganyan, okay, may problema tayo. This is called your QQ plot. Ipa-plot natin to, QQ class, quantile plot. Okay, we'll learn this class later on na when we are looking at the normality of the residuals. Okay, so here are some references that I shared with you. I hope you're going to look at them. And ano ba to? Okay. Now, how is the OLS or ordinary least squares determined? Paano na-determine class yung regression line? Paano na-determine yung betas? Ano yung mga values ng betas? I mentioned last time that the method used is ordinary least squares. Paano yung ordinary least squares class? Okay, let me just illustrate that quickly. Okay, sabi natin, let's just take a look at a simple linear regression y and x. Okay, so ito yung scatter plot nila. Okay, what is the regression line or what is the line of best fit? So I'll just pretend that this is the regression line. No? Okay, this line class, also called the line of best fit or linear regression line best fit. Okay, there's only one line of best fit class. Isa lang yan, hindi pa pwedeng dalawa. And what is that line? That line class is the line where, okay, so ito class, this point here is your y hat sub I. Lahat ng points na dito sa regression line nyo, mga predicted yan. Ito yung predicted line natin class. This is your y sub I, di ba? Actual. So if you drop a line here, and sorry, hindi straight. Okay, this is your residual, di ba? Epsilon sub E sub I, epsilon sub I. Ibig sabihin yan yung error, no? So marami tayong errors dito. Ito, maliliit yung errors. So may mga points na maliliit yung errors. May mga points na malalaki. For example, ito, malaki to. No? Malayo siya sa regression line. Okay, so if you drop lines there, these are your residuals, no? Mga epsilons yan. Now, when you sum up all your epsilons, okay, as I discussed before, this will equal to 0. Kasi some errors are below, some errors are above. Yun ang nature ng regression line. Parang ini-split niya yung data, tapos you add all the errors, so 0 siya. So that's why when you determine this line, we don't use this. Rather, what we use is epsilon squared. Ini-square natin yung error. Pag naka-square na yung error na yan, class, positive na lahat yan, pwede na natin ma-add. So, for example, ito. This, ang epsilon squared class, area yan. No? Ito. Squared area. Yan. Ito. Squared. So, you plot all your epsilons, no? So, isa, yung iba maliliit lang yung residual squared nila. Yung iba malalaki. Okay, and then you add all of this class squared. And this is actually equal to, di ba? Actual value minus predicted value, right? And then square each one of them and then sum them up. Yan. Ito yung class, ito. Sum up natin yung actual value minus predicted value. Okay. Squared muna natin, class, not sum up. Squared at saka sum up. Tapos, i-minimize. Dapat, yung sum ng mga squared residuals natin na to, dapat minimum yan. Okay? So with calculus, masosolve natin kung ano yung mga yung line na to. And therefore, masosolve din natin yung mga betas natin. Okay? So using calculus, makukuha natin tong tong minimum na to. Okay? And that's why this is also called ordinary least squares. Yung L dito, class, least. Yung pinakamaliit, no? Least. Yung squares, square ng error terms. Yan. Okay? So that's the logic behind how this is solved. Okay? Siguro sa example natin, papakita ko kung paano i-generate to. Kasi maganda rin yung naiintindihan nyo kung saan nanggaling yan. Eh. Okay? Alright. So, ito, no? Some pointers, class. The regression line goes to the center of mass. Kaya ano ibig sabihin nun? Ay, sorry, na-delete ko, no? Yung regression line kanina, class. Ito. This is your Y, this is your X. Ito yung ano natin, scatter plot. Ito yung, sorry, ito yung regression line natin. Sorry class for the drawing. Regression line natin ito. Now, this will always contain here average Y and average X. The regression line will pass through the center of mass. Of course, we can compute for Y average and we can compute for X average. If you check the regression line, ando dun lagi ito, class. The regression line goes to the center of mass point. Okay? So, again, delete ko to. Run natin to, class, here. Yan, no? Your beta class will always run dun sa center of mass, which is Y bar and X bar. Lagi, class, lagi. The center of mass, X bar, Y bar, will always be touched by your regression line. Okay. Next, ito. Another important point. The slope has the same sign as the correlation coefficient. Okay, what does that mean? Very simple, class. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Okay, so si Y, si X. Okay. To take a look at this, class, ang correlation, class, ang correlation ni X at saka ni Y is positive, di ba? Kasi going up siya. Kung going down, pag ganito dapat yung shape niya. Negative yung correlation. Okay, correlation positive, therefore the slope, beta, and beta 1 should also be positive. Okay? If the correlation is positive, the slope will also be positive. Hindi pa pwedeng opposite. Pag nag-opposite yan, ako, something's wrong with your model. Okay? So, ganun yung class. Yun ibig sabihin nito. No? Yung beta class will be R standard deviation of y over standard deviation of x. Now, this will always be, okay, ito yung formula class in determining the beta. Explain natin to in the future, but suffice it to say class that, okay, I hope clear to slope. The sign of the slope is the same as the sign of your correlation. Clear all drawings. Ayaw. Clear all drawings. There. X. Okay, and lastly class, ito. Ito, diniscussion natin to, di ba? The sum of the residuals is 0. Okay. And also here, lastly, dapat class, yung mga predictors natin, yung X, at saka yung residuals natin, dapat hindi siya correlated. Yan. Parang kanina yung ano class, yung correlation ng ano ng yung autocorrelation natin, correlation ng residuals, E sub epsilon sub I, epsilon sub J. Ganun din to class. Hindi pwedeng maging correlated yung X natin at saka yung residuals natin. Kasi class, pag correlated sila, pag pinat natin residuals, tapos yung X, pag correlated sila, ibig sabihin, their model was not able to capture that correlation. Dapat nasama sa model yun eh. Okay? Yan. So, correlation or covariance dapat equal to 0. For all i's equal to 1 up to n. Okay, so please take some time to read through the lecture on the assumptions, no? We know naman na hindi naman kaagad nakukuha sa isang reading yan. Kailangan allow it to percolate. As I said, class, medyo basa-basa ng konti, no? Beyond this subject, beyond this time frame, take some time, a few minutes to read the notes. Sayang din naman, class, yung pinaghirapan natin na hindi madali, class, gumawa ng notes na ganito. The reason why I did this is so that ano tayo yung we save on time. Para ang focus natin is the lesson proper itself. Okay, so once again class, let me pa-chat naman please kung okay tayo so far sa assumptions natin ng classical. Thank you, Lane. Thank you. The others please. Okay, thank you, Richard. Gab, thank you. Okay, sana maraming mag-respond. Right, thank you, Adrian and Rose, Palyavi, Randell. Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. Now, let's go now to magpo-formal na tayo ng regression, no? Regression lesson. Dito na tayo I'll start first with magto 2.3 muna ako. Yan. Boston case muna tayo. Okay, so ito hindi ko pa binibigay sa inyo class kasi gusto ko yung iba dito. Kayo susulat. Alright, we'll now start with our formal discussion of multiple linear regression. Okay, so please create a new RMD file. I-save nyo yung dati, yung kanina. Create a new one. Then we'll learn now how to load packages. Okay, so this is our first formal lesson on multiple linear regression. And there are several packages that we're going to look into. Okay, so let me share. Okay, multiple linear regression. Okay, ito lang i-share ko tapos ito class, I'll ask you to type it. Control C. I-paste na muna. Chat. Create na kayong bagong RMD file, no? Siguro i-name nyo as MLR case Boston. Si Boston date ang gagamitin natin. Okay, so you have to check class sa packages nyo. Again, how do you check? Andyan na ba si mass class? Check nyo nga class. Type mass here. M-A-S-S. Yan. Okay. Tanong class, naka-load na ba siya? Naka-check ba siya? Paki-feedback class, please. If you have mass and then if it's checked, without running this first, huh? No, okay, good. No. So it does not come pre-packaged, no? So dapat i-install natin yan. So there are several ways to install a package. Una, ito class, di ba? We have learned this in the past. Uncomment ko to. Yan. Here. When you're installing several packages, install that packages and then concatenate natin C, which means combine all si MAS, si dplyr, ggplot2, si car, si caret, si glmnet, si lmtest. So ito yung gamit nila class. What are they used for? We're going to use MAS package class for the Boston data, dplyr for data manipulation, ggplot2, a very powerful package for plots. CAR is for diagnostics and for, ito yung kanina class, yung BIF, di ba? For multicollinearity. Stepwise regression, very important. We're going to learn that. Regularization class technique, I'll also discuss that. And ito class, di ba? Kailangan malaman natin kung yung residuals natin homoscedastic or heteroscedastic. We have a test for that, yung Lagrange multiplier test, yan, LM test. Okay, so if you run this class, ito. Okay, so I'll give you a few seconds to run that, please. And check nyo class kung dapat na-install na sila, si MAS, dplyr, etc. Once you're done, class, kindly chat in the chat box. If you're done, class, kindly chat, please. No one's ready yet. Still waiting for your feedback, class. Okay, so I hope you have loaded the package. We know with our discussion before that it's not enough to install the packages. Even after you have installed the packages, it doesn't mean that you can readily access the functions, the programs from that package. You'll have to require it or use library. Now, there's another way to load packages. And kindly check first, please, if you have Pacman. Paki-check and yes or no, please. Check nyo dito, class, Pacman sa packages. Package management tool. Once again, pa-check nga please kung yes or no. Do you have Pacman, class? Sa package nyo? Wala. Thank you. The rest, please. None. Okay, good. Okay, none. Okay, good. Thank you. So, more or less, class, siguro marami sa inyo yung walang Pacman. Okay, so first, let's load this class. Install natin. Let's go to install and then type nyo si Pacman. Okay. Wait. Ano nangyari doon? Nagpapa-install. Wag na muna sa akin, ha. Okay. Check yung class. Install nyo si Pacman. Sa inyo na lang kasi naka-install na sa akin, eh. I'll just deal with the update later. Kindly load Pacman, please. Install. Okay, for some of you, meron. Good. Okay, for those of you who does not have Pacman, paki-install siya and then paki-click to class. Paki-library. Diba? If you recall, pag inan uh, when I unclick this, it will be detached. When I click this, same as library. Okay. Okay, let me just illustrate to you how you can install and load a particular package easily. Now, suppose you're going to use a package tapos hindi yung pa na-install. So, di ba mag-i-install ka tapos mag-library ka? A shortcut can be use pacman. So, kailangan naka-load na siya, class. And then p underscore load, package underscore load. And then identify nyo yung mga packages. Pwedeng walang ano yan, class. Pwedeng walang ah, quotation marks. Pwede. Pwedeng ganito lang. No? Pwede yan. No? Okay? I-revert ko nun sa dati. And then write all the packages that you need. So with this class, pag rinan nyo yan, mag install yan at saka maglo-load at the same time. So hindi ka na magto two-step process, class. Okay, so Pacman is a very powerful tool in loading packages. But let's not run this anymore kasi na-load nyo na eh, no? Na-install nyo na at saka na-load nyo. Okay, so let's now go here, class. Okay, i-load muna natin, class, si Boston. Okay, I'll just give you the description and then kayo magta-type ng code, yung mga simple na code yan because I want you to be typing codes also on your own. Okay, so the data that we're going to use is Boston. Si Boston, class, okay, data yan that's coming from mass. So let's check first ito, class. Let's check, ano ba yung Boston na yan? So you can use double question mark, Boston. This is used when you want to access information about a particular package or a data set. So double question mark, control enter. So lalabas yan sa help, no? Yan sa help dito. So it will give us, okay, some, may FMA Boston, okay, FPP, Boston Marathon. Usually ang specific na kailangan natin yung nasa dulo, yan. Mass Boston. Okay? Mass Boston. So ito yung kailangan natin, class. So if I click this, okay, housing values in suburbs in Boston. So this is the file that we're going to deal with. Okay. Ano laman niya? It is a data frame with 506 rows and 14 columns. Data frame siya. If you watch the video already, class, on data and data structures, okay, I hope you have watched it, class. You should understand what data frame is. And then we have crime per capita crime per town. Then the zoning of the zone of residential land zoned for lots over 25,000 square foot. Indus, proportion of non-retail business acres per town. So this is the percent ng non-retail business per town. Then there's this variable Charles River, dummy variable class, no? Dummy variable is equal to 1 if the track bounds the river and 0 otherwise. NOx is nitric oxide, nitrogen oxide, ppm to parts per million. Then the house has average, RM is the room, average room. Age is the proportion of owner-occupied units built prior to 1940. So may mga units pala na 1940 and then may mga units na ano na post 1940. This is a distance to 5 Boston employment centers. So average siya, no? So sa Boston may 5 employment centers. So yung town, yung town na kino-consider natin, kukunin yung distance from employment center 1 hanggang employment center 5 tapos i-average siya. Yun ang this class. RAD is index of accessibility to radial highways. Siyempre, I think that the closer to the radial highways, baka mas mahal, no? Okay, tax, and then pupil-teacher ratio sa education to, tapos proportion ng black, tapos percent ng lower status. Okay, pag may mas lower status ba, mas napapamahal yung ano? And then median value. All right, so this is the variable that we're going to study, median value. Kasi ang gusto natin dito i-predict yung ano yung come up with the model where we predict the house, the median value of the house, no? Okay, so ito yung source niya. This is actual data. Okay. All right. So let's run this first. And you know, class, parang data pressure, data cars, no? Data Boston. Run natin to, class. We can access this because meron na yung mass, no? Control Enter. And then, if you check, class, may Boston na dito, no? Boston. Naka-promise pa lang. Either I check that or sige, let's change the name, class. Let's call it Data Frame Boston para mas shorter yung name. Control Enter. May question ba? Yeah, sure. Ay, naku, sorry, class, sorry. I apologize. Time na pala. Okay. Oh, no. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so stop recording now.